Medicare supplement, Medicare Advantage plans were kind of always neck and neck. It was like 26%, then it was, 30%, then we kind of saw 40%. Now, right now, the way the market break is broken down, 26% of beneficiaries own a Medicare supplement. So that number isn't dropping dramatically, but 52% of them own a Medicare Advantage plan. Everybody else is is TRICARE, group insurance, or just uninsured, original Medicare. So overwhelmingly in the last 2 to 3 years, the jump of people, and it's new people to Medicare trying the Medicare Advantage market first. And there's a lot to discuss about that, why that might be the case. So we're going to talk about why is a Medicare Advantage option, why that market is growing, but we're also going to be talking about why Medicare supplements are still wonderful options for a good chunk of your clients.
Absolutely.
So this is what we're talking about today. Do I need to offer both? It used to be we had a bunch of people that only offered Medicare supplements because Medicare Advantage wasn't worth the hassle. Saw that flip. We have a lot of people that only offer Advantage, not Med Sup. Is that the right way to go? What's the better option for my clients? What are some good triggers that I need to look out for to say, this is an original Medicare and a supplement crew versus they might be better fit for a Medicare Advantage plan? And last but not least, what's better for my business? What pays more commissions? What's more work? What's actually going to help me? I'm not doing this for charity. We have to make sure you're making a living at the end of the day.
Or even at this stage, if you just started this business, you have no downlines, you have no admin staff or anything. Time is money. So what's taking up my time? What is the best option for my business in this stage? We'll kind of go through some of that stuff.
First of all, should I offer both?
Well, short answer, yes. If you want to be able to help everybody that walks through your door, then yes, you will want to be able to offer both of those things. And there's a few different reasons why. Also, I say that excluding D-SNP and those sorts of things, but which does fall under, but that's a whole different thing. If you want to be able to help anybody that walks through your door, which hopefully that is what you want, then yes, you want to make sure you're offering.
What I like to say when it comes to Medicare supplement versus Medicare Advantage plans, you're not comparing apples to apples. Those are apples to oranges. Both are fruit, but they have different appealings. Appealing because of an apple. They appeal differently, and oranges too. Both of them you peel. I didn't even take the obvious route there.
Because I was thinking orange and you thought apple, and then
that says more about me. I'm difficult, so I choose the difficult thing to peel.
Sure.
Anyways. But that does, again, both of them are fruit, but they just appeal to two different types of people. So one is not better than the other. The way that I look at it is why is Walmart a nationally known brand that ran out some of those mom and pop, butcher shops or those corner grocers, things like that? It's because people wanted to go to where they can be serviced holistically. People liked Walmart because you can get bike tires, a shooting rifle, and a head of lettuce all at the same place. It was all encompassing versus having to visit different stores for every single item you wanted to buy. And so in order to be able to be all encompassing, to have your name equate to insurance, you have to be able to offer both of those products absolutely every time. Again, over 52% of individuals do have a Medicare Advantage plans. Still about 26% have a Med Sup, and that number dropped from 28% to 26% and has held pretty steady at 26%. So we're not seeing people leaving the Med Sups. We're just seeing new people tend to gravitate towards the Medicare Advantage plan.
Absolutely. And as the market kind of changes up and everything, people are making sure that people as in agents, your competitors, they're making sure that they're able to take care of everybody, which means they're going to be offering both. And like she said, if your competition is offering both, then you obviously need to. So just make sure that you're always taking care of people because your clients are another agent's prospect. So,
and if I may too, never down talk one product to sell another one.
Yes.
Especially when you offer both. I know a lot of Medicare supplement people, because again, back in the day when I first got started in this industry, it was most people sold Med Sups. Medicare Advantage plans were catching popularity. And I can tell you a ton of our agents now Whereas back then, talking about how I tell my clients, never buy a Medicare Advantage plan. They're terrible. They're awful. I will never sell them. Well, those same people now are, because the market is kind of forcing their hand to sell those plans. So two things are having to happen. Number one, if they are selling Medicare Advantage plans now, they have to kind of like talk about how, yes, I know that was my old recommendation. I was wrong then. I'm right now. Kind of buy back or kind of earn back some of that trust. Or number two, people who want a Medicare Advantage plan just went somewhere else.
Right.
Because they're going to buy what they're going to buy. It has nothing to do with what you want to sell. It has everything to do with what they want to buy.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So don't, if you're a Medicare Advantage shop now and getting into the med sup market, please do not talk smack on med sups. It will bite you in the butt.
Well, hopefully you'll learn throughout this. Our whole objective of this is to show you the pros and cons of each. So hopefully if you have a really hardcore specific opinion about one of the products, by the end of this, you will see that maybe it's not your favorite product for what your lifestyle would be, but it could very well be someone that walked through your door.
So that was question number one. Number two, what's the best option for my client? It used to be back in the day, because again, we're talking about like my experience and seeing this, it used to be very much if-then statements. If my client says this, then I send them to a Medicare Advantage. If my client says that, then I send them to the Medicare supplement realm. And it's gotten so much more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
So when you're asking yourself, what is the better option for my client? What you have to do is you have to learn how to answer the right questions to see what your clients are prioritizing. When you learn what they prioritize, that's the only way you can really diagnose what route they should go.
Sometimes in this business, people have these traditional like thoughts or like these mindsets.
We like to categorize.
Yeah, exactly. And so a lot of people will say, well, I just write people on. I want to take care of my clients. So I would write you on what I would write my mom or what I would write my grandma. And the heart of that is good. In certain situations, sure, that does work. But whenever it comes down to it now, and it's going to be changing every single year because MA, that's just the nature of Medicare Advantage. It's going to depend very much on that, like she said, person's lifestyle, how much money they want to pay, how they like to pay for their finances, or how they like to pay for their health care, their actual health. There's so many different things. So sometimes those kind of traditional thoughts are different. And even like you're saying, from the time that you started, and you have a lot more experience than I do in this industry, even from the time that I started, like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Whenever we were first teaching this, it was if-thens, and now it's very much like, oh no, the areas are very gray now. So
we're going to help you kind of understand, find those triggers about like, how do I recognize a med sup client? How do I recognize a Medicare Advantage client? Let's start with the Medicare supplements. These are kind of where we see like a good Medicare one-on-one presentation will kind of go over the pros and cons of each, and then allow the consumer to understand, what am I willing to give up? What am I willing to accept for this? So for Medicare supplements, number one, these are individuals who do not want to be tied to a network. These are people who want the absolute freedom. Doesn't matter if they have a grandkid in California and a grandkid in New York, they want to be able to take their RV the whole way and not have to look twice at a network. Medicare supplements follow the same network as original Medicare, which is about 95% of providers. So chances are, unless they're like a cash per service provider, which those are growing in popularity, but we're still about 95%. Med subs, it's just no worries about that network.
Absolutely, yeah. And kind of similar along that line, they don't have to worry about people who just like really don't want to have to worry about the claims process and doing all that sort of jazz. That kind of falls in this category as well. Some people just really want it to be as easy as possible. They've dealt with for years, having to do all that with their own healthcare. Now they just want to be able to see whoever they want, wherever they want, and not have to hassle with it.
You and I talk about this quite a bit. I am a med sup client. If I was on a Medicare policy today, I would be a med sup client for the only reason of like, I want to sit it and forget it, right? I want to go to the doctor. I want to know exactly what I'm going to pay. If I get a bill for something, then like, I know, like, I'm just going to call my agent.
Right.
I'm not going to put the effort to make the most out of a Medicare Advantage plan. I'm a med sup client. I'm a little lazy, for better or worse. Clients who are risk averse, I think Sadie, you kind of worded it this way. I love this. It's kind of the same way, like I'm risk averse because I'm too lazy, but some people are risk averse because the anxiety of the what ifs.
Yes.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
what if I am in this situation and I can't go see my doctor because there's not one in network? Or what if, I get diagnosed with cancer, I'm going to the doctor more regularly. I just don't want to have to think about a second thought of that.
Yeah. Or even like, I don't know how much I'm going to pay whenever I go see my doctor. Like
Yeah.
I'm worried about, like, it could be different every time. It'll be different every year. People want to also be able to, these are for people who really want to know exactly what to expect. Like they know exactly what to expect. Kind of like this is tying it into the bottom, but they don't like change. They just, like she said, set it and forget it. They know what they're getting year after year. And that is one reason why the lifespan of a Medicare supplement, that is the reason why lifespans of Medicare supplements are so long. They're so steady. And that's just because a lot of people are out there and they're like, I want to know what to expect and I don't want it to change from year to year.
And I don't have to think about it, right?
Right.
Compared to a Medicare Advantage plan where before you get anything done, you have to do the research and then you have to make sure and see, do you have the money to cover it?
Yeah.
And then we also have on here, but lastly, because with the do not like change, those are, you don't have to review those annually. With the do not like change, the only thing I would mention is that make sure that when you are meeting with a Medicare supplement client, set the expectation that the only thing that will change is going to be their premium, depending on what state you're in. Because deaf research show that a person doesn't actually on a Medicare supplement will not actually start shopping premiums or will not start shopping plans until they hit about a $25 increase. So if you're saying nothing's going to change, it's going to look the same every year, and then they get a rate increase, you could be setting yourself up for a chronic shopper, which is not a client that anybody wants. So make sure that they know, like, hey, it's likely you'll get a minimal rate increase, usually less than 10% every single year. If you are in an attained age state, then make sure they know, hey, you'll get maybe up to 2 rate increases, one for the block of business and then one that's appropriate for your age. So if you set the expectations, it's going to do you a lot of favors in the long run. But then we have like here, the last one, visits the doctor often. People talk about, like, again, if they visit the doctor often, then they'll have a copay for every specialist, a copay for every doctor's visit until they hit that max amount of pocket. But if they visit the doctor often, it usually means that they may have more complex health conditions or situations that, again, it kind of ties back to the network. So not only will they be more involved in paying for their healthcare on a Medicare Advantage plan versus a Medicare supplement plan, but specialists and things like that get into a little gray area when it comes to networks.
One thing that you will notice, or that you might notice, especially if you've been in the business for a while, one thing that we don't and purposely don't have on here is turning 65ers. That used to kind of be something that was, if they're turning 65, you just automatically put them on a med sup for underwriting reasons and all that sort of jazz. We're finding that people are doing that less and less for a few different reasons, but it's not necessarily assumed nowadays that Medicare supplements will. Now, we're not saying, in different situations, one might be better than the other, but we're just not seeing that trend as much as we used to.
That's a great point. And the reason why we used to say get on a med sup first is because you won't always be able to get on a Medicare supplement forever. Like after your open enrollment for med sup, then you typically have to go through underwriting. Versus if you get on a Medicare Advantage plan first, you can always, Medicare Advantage doesn't have underwriting. And due to the trial right. If you are on a Medicare supplement, you try Medicare Advantage for the first time, you have 12 months to get it back on that med sup. And the opposite isn't true for Medicare Advantage plan unless you do it upon turning 65. So it is a little different, but we are seeing, again, a lot of people tend to go, are starting to actually start with a Medicare Advantage plan primarily because they're used to group health insurance, and a Medicare Advantage plan is very familiar to them. It's very comfortable for them. They're paying more than half, like less than half the cost, but getting a really similar service to their group health insurance. So a lot of people are going that route.
Exactly. That's all of their dental, vision, and hearing, all that sort of jazz is already combined in. And so, yeah, like you said, it's packaged in a way that they've been used to for years.
They're comfortable with it.
They're very comfortable. Yeah.
So people who tend to lean the path of like, hey, a Medicare Advantage plan may be a great option for you. Number one is living in a highly populated area. The reason for that is strictly financial. The way that CMS, the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services, determine how much money they're going to give a Medicare Advantage company is based not solely, but based hugely on the population there. The more dense the population is, the more that Medicare Advantage company says, well, for every, you have more resources here, there are more people here, they will require more money. So in a densely populated area, those plans are going to be much more rich in benefits and have low premiums, oftentimes PPOs, and more bells and whistles like gym membership, drug discounts, groceries, in some cases for your D-SNP markets, paying for their cell phone bills. So highly populated areas, their Medicare Advantage plans tend to look way better than those lower populated areas because those plans are not as funded as well.
Yeah. And we used to say, this is kind of a situation that I was just talking about. We used to say that if you were in a rural area, you don't want to have a Medicare Advantage plan if it was even available to you.
Yeah.
But that is something that has changed even from the time that I first started here a few years ago, where Medicare Advantage plans are a lot more popular now in rural areas, and they have really awesome benefits, especially if it's something right outside of like a densely populated area. So my granddad, I told you, he lives out in the middle of nowhere, but he's technically kind of in the Springfield, Missouri area.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest, where he's at, he's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But he's close to one of the biggest cities in Missouri. So he has his Aetna Medicare Advantage plan.
I love it.
And he loves it, like absolutely loves it. And that's something that wasn't necessarily as available to him or as like booming with those benefits a few years ago as he is now. And so.
There a question, if somebody is starts at 65 with an Advantage plan, is there a trial right to get a med sup if they're bad in health later on? So the short answer to that is yes. There are two types of trial right periods. One is trial right and the other was trial 65. The one I described earlier, when you start on a med sup, doesn't matter how long you've had that med sup, you can have it for years. You try a Medicare Advantage plan for the first time ever. That's trial right. You have 12 months from the time that Medicare Advantage plan is effective to go back to that same Medicare supplement policy with that same Medicare supplement company, and you basically pretend like nothing ever happened, like whatever, like that wasn't a thing, that didn't happen, don't even worry about it. What you're asking about is the trial right 65. That only works if you joined a Medicare Advantage plan upon turning 65. So if you use any other election period to enroll into that Medicare Advantage plan other than the initial enrollment period, IEP, doesn't count. So if you delayed Medicare Part B, had other source of credible coverage, doesn't matter. That one only works if you take it upon turning 65. You then have 12 months, basically until your 66th birthday, to get onto a Medicare supplement underwriting free. Yeah, so limited, but it is still there.
Okay, so do not mind copays. This kind of is tied to what we were talking about earlier. If people have been on a group plan for years and years, this might not be something, copays might not be something that scares them off as much. Now you have to keep in mind, one really great benefit about Medicare Advantage plans is oftentimes they're $0 or they're just a very low cost and premium.
Really
Since
low
you're
cost.
not paying that premium up front, you will have a little bit higher copay. So if your client doesn't really care, if they don't know exactly what the copay is, or it might change year from year, or it might be a little bit higher than what they'd have on a med sup, then this is still a really good plan for them.
The way, especially like these two top points, right? The way that I'm oversimplifying it, of course, but if you guys have a Menards, any client that submits the 11% rebate at Menards that they do often, if you have a rebate or a coupon client, they're a Medicare Advantage client because they're willing to put in a little extra effort to get a little bit more out of their plan for a little less money. Again, because they're paying very low, sometimes zero premium, they're getting the drug, or they're getting drug benefits, they're getting dental, they're getting travel, they're getting all these extra things. But they're gonna have to be more involved in their healthcare. They're gonna have to track claims. They're gonna have to track their max out of pocket. They're going to have to make sure that they're going in network. They're just gonna have to be much more involved with their healthcare. That's why I say a Medicare supplement, like I'm a lazy person. My Medicare supplement, I don't want to think about it. I want to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I'm a med sup person. I'm not a coupon person. I'm not a rebate person. Medicare Advantage plans, you can get more, you can get a lot, and you can do it for really low cost. You're just gonna have to work at it a little bit more.
Absolutely.
We like Medicaid eligible. If somebody's Medicaid eligible, double check the DSNP opportunity, dual special needs plan, meaning that they are both Medicare and Medicaid eligible. It is illegal. I mean, it's illegal. It's against the Department of Insurance. So yes, it is illegal to sell somebody a Medicare supplement plan if they're on a Medicaid, except for the cases of a spin down. That's a whole nother presentation. But if you're working with somebody who is Medicaid eligible, the DSNP market is an incredible opportunity.
Yeah.
An incredible, I mean, like we are working so hard to get more agents into the DSNP opportunity. It's insane.
So are carriers.
The money to be
Yeah.
made there, the people to be helped there, it's insane. But what a DSNP plan does is essentially give people who are already paying nothing for their health care, but it's getting them more access to over-the-counter medications and giving them access to things to proactively take care of their health. Their groceries will get paid for. Their utilities get paid for. So it's a way to find extra premium and extra dollars for those people who really need it most.
Absolutely. That's one of those markets where, yes, it might take a little bit more work, but the agents that we see that have tapped into that market, because truly it's a gold mine, they've seen a lot of success. So definitely something, if you have questions about it, give us a call. But Medicare or DSNP plans are just like Medicare Advantage plans, are getting better and better and better each year.
Yes, 100%. And then the last couple points here, veterans. Veterans are another one. There are Medicare Advantage plans designed specifically for people who are receiving VA benefits. VA and Medicare do not talk to each other. If you see, they do not work together whatsoever, other than with TRICARE. But TRICARE is pretty limited. Not a lot of people are receiving TRICARE benefits. Most are going to be some level of veterans benefits. The biggest difference with veterans and why it works so good with Medicare Advantage plans is because Medicare Advantage plans, you can have some that do not include drug coverage. Because veterans benefits, the VA is considered credible for Medicare Part D, so you don't need Part D when you have veterans benefits. Why that works so well for individuals who are on Medicaid is because Medicaid reallocates those funds that they would be spending on the drug portion, and they get rid of the drug portion and invest those funds into those bells and whistles. So just like with DSNP, you can see incredible opportunities for groceries, over-the-counter medications, pickleball, everything is getting paid for by these Medicare Advantage plans. It also allows people who are receiving veteran benefits to be able to see a civilian doctor for second opinions, which can oftentimes make a difference, especially if the VA hospital availability is limited where they're at.
We see that a lot in our area. So those can really be lifesavers. Ask about national networks. Speaking of really awesome benefits, Medicare Advantage plans now, some of the bigger carriers, and not every plan, some of the bigger carriers, some of their plans, they have what is called a national network that essentially makes a national network. That means that you are allowed to go see any doctor in any area as long as they accept that plan that you're on, or like if it's United Healthcare, as long as they accept United Healthcare. So if you live here in Missouri and you go down to Florida and something, or you want to go see a doctor or whatever it may be, if you have that national network, you're allowed to go see a doctor that will take you and that will take your insurance.
Yeah, they will bill your insurance like you're a resident there, as long as they take that same. Good, like Sadie said, not every company. You're looking at the big boys, United Healthcare, Humana, Aetna, some Anthem plans, but the ones that do double check the plan availability. It's not every plan.
Yeah.
So again, that's your Medicare Advantage client. I think the best way I break it down is kind of we talked about. My coupon users, my vouchers, my people who are willing to work a little bit more to get a little bit more, you're my Medicare Advantage people. My people that want to set it, forget it, don't want to think about it, just want to know it's there when I need it. That's why I buy insurance, so it's there when I need it. That's my MedSup people. Last but not least, what's going to be better for your agency? And this is going to be, again, when it comes down to dollar and cents, what makes you more money at the end of the day? I'm not advocating that anybody sells insurance based on what's the highest commissionable plan. I don't want that, but I do want you to know what to expect when you're selling these products. So when it comes to Medicare supplement plans, like Sadie mentioned earlier, the lifespan of a Medicare supplement has actually grown to be between 7 and 9 years. Meaning, and most of them are guaranteed, not most of them, they're all usually guaranteed renewable, they're all guaranteed renewable, but usually your commissions on that will last the exact same commissions years 1 through 7. So you're not, you're getting a significant amount of money.
Mhm.
You're making money based on them retaining that plan. And it's a significant amount years 2 and on. Some plans have even switched to lifetime renewals, meaning that at year 7, that plan's not going to drop off. You'll continue to get paid as long as they keep paying their premium, which is incredible. These plans are also incredibly stable because the clients are much less involved in their healthcare. You're having much less problems, much less issues. Really, the only time you're working with a Medicare supplement is if you need to price shop because the premiums have gotten a little bit more out of hand. But as we said, most people do not shop premiums until they hit about $25, making it pretty easy. If you set the expectations, you really don't have to service Medicare supplements all that often.
Absolutely. Yeah. These, like you said, they're super stable. We talk about having sticky clients. We talk about having a really good retention plan. Well, obviously, this is kind of the step before all of that,
Right.
but it's kind of the easiest foundation, honestly, to have because you don't have to shop year to year. You don't have to worry about them going to someone else. Medicare supplement plans, the commission right off the bat is not going to be the same as a Medicare Advantage plan, especially for people who are like new in this industry. They're like Medicare Advantage, because you get that payout like real
Medicare
fast.
Advantage is a much higher commission.
Yes, but Medicare supplements have a longer lifespan. So it's kind of more of an investment piece in which you're not making all that money right up front, but you're also keeping them on the books, which you can better cross-sell and you'll have them in a few years, all that sort of jazz.
Now, to again complement what Sadie's saying, Medicare supplement plans are lower commission. Medicare Advantage plans are relatively higher compared to the Medicare supplement. But keep in mind, when a person hits year 2 on Medicare Advantage, doesn't matter what plan they're on, when they hit year 2 of a Medicare Advantage, that commission cuts in half. So it is a really awesome first time commission. And to be honest, even when that commission's still cut and it's cut in half, it's still a higher commission than a lot of Medicare supplements. So even at its low point, it's still going to be higher. However, like Sadie mentioned, time is money. Medicare Advantage plans do require, I'll say it like I said, I was working with an agency a couple weeks ago, and I think I said, it's not hard to be an agent. It's hard to be a good agent.
Yes.
So if you're a good agent, you are working with these policies with your clients throughout the year more. You're training them on how to use their benefits. You're helping them when claims are not quite fitting right because humans are processing this at the end of the day. You're helping them confirm that their doctors are in network. You're helping them shop those plans every single year. So you are getting paid more, but you're working more for it.
For sure.
So at the end of the day, what it comes out to is that really it kind of comes out in the wash. As far as time equals money, they're going to be equally as valuable to your agency, both dollars and cents.
Absolutely.
George asked the questions. Do you know which carriers offer lifetime renewal commissions? More and more are coming. George, I would highly recommend calling our office and seeing that. Like the most popular right now is depending on the state too. Like United Healthcare in most states, certainly not all, but United Healthcare in most states offer a lifetime commission. But if you're interested in that, George, just call our office, which I think the number's right here. If you kind of want, and again, that's what our team does. Our team, our agent outreach team, what they do is they kind of look at the pros and cons of all the companies and say, yeah, this one doesn't pay as well, but you'll never have to work with a client versus this one pays great, but we're on the phones all day taking care of issues for agents. We'll let you know that. But it is really important to, like, again, when you're looking at, we're doing this for a reason. We have to make sure what we're doing is cost effective. And I'll tell you, especially in states that med sub states, right? I work with the ones that do like a birthday rule or an anniversary rule, and a lot of people don't realize if you're doing a guarantee issue on a med sub, you're gonna cut your commissions almost completely on guarantee issue business. And so a lot of agents will write themselves out of business because they're just churning that Missouri business or churning that California. And so they end up writing themselves, they're getting a really great commission on this plan. It went up $1 or $2. The client wouldn't have even thought anything of it except for the agent called them and they just wrote themselves out of a ton of commissions.
Yeah.
So don't like write yourself out of business. It is possible to do. You always need to make sure you're doing what's best for your client. There's a lot to think about when you're looking at these products. That was a whole nother tangent. That was a whole nother thing that you didn't come here for.
Well,
but now you know.
It was fantastic.
Thank you.
And also, like, whenever, kind of still on that note, continuing the tangent, if you will,
Just hop on board. There's
yeah,
room for all.
love it. Not only at the end of the day, you want to take care of your clients because that's what's best for your business, but we have to think about, I think a lot of people are in the mode right now, especially the last couple of years with a lot of compliance changes of like, what are we doing to better our industry? How are we here to
So
save our
true.
industry?
So true.
And not only do we have, like, we've combat some things with like commercials and call centers and like all that sort of stuff, but there's still people out there that are doing sorts of things like that. And it's going to get to the point where if that's like what people see agents doing, what they're going to start doing is quit going to agents and just do it online themselves, which honestly is one of the biggest threats that we have right now that I feel like people aren't talking about, but that's again another tangent for another day.
Yeah.
But you also, at the end of the day, making sure that you're offering both of these products and you truly are fact finding and figuring out what's best for them, you're also helping build a better industry that a lot of us are kind of nervous might be on the rocks a little bit. So
that's so true. It's what Zig Ziglar says. If you help enough people do right by them, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll always get what you want.
Yeah.
Making sure you're helping your clients, making sure do not be that person that's bitter about Medicare Advantage dominating the market or saying that Medicare supplements are only for agents who are washed up and don't know what they're talking about, the lazy agents. Just making sure that, again, you are offering different products for different people, trying to listen for those triggers, listen to see where their priorities are, because the priorities isn't always money. The priority isn't always travel. The priority isn't always the actual healthcare. So trying to understand where is their priorities and putting them in the plan that matches and complements their lifestyle. That's why I don't say let's find the plan that's best for you. I say let's find the plan that fits your wallet and fits your lifestyle, because those two things have to line up. At the end of the day, all your clients really care about is, can I see my doctor? Can I take my prescriptions? How much is it going to cost me? Those are the priorities. Any question, comments, concerns, threats, and or promises today? Hopefully, again, it looked different today than it did last time we did this webinar. The differences of Medicare supplements versus Medicare Advantage.
Yeah. Woohoo. I know. Oh my gosh. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. If you do have any lingering questions, totally okay. Reply to that follow-up email that you'll get, answer our phone call, and we'll make sure to get those questions answered for you. But thank you all so much for joining us.
Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.